And I know, like you mentioned, the high school sports scene in Charlotte is always evolving, just so much talent. Two things I wanted to pick your brain about. One that I saw you mention was the possibility of different adjustments or alignments dealing with the conferences.
Conferences, I think the state needs to definitely increase the amount of classifications we have, and that's going to affect the amount of the type of conferences you have. I would like to see Charlotte stay in its own conferences, but I think if we expand to 5A, 6A, I think six is probably the right number, maybe even seven. You're going to have some Charlotte teams having to join conferences outside of Charlotte simply because the 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 number of students in the school, the ADM number, the average daily membership numbers, are going to mean that some of the smaller Charlotte schools are going to probably pair with, say, Gastonia schools or Cabarrus County schools. So it's kind of hard for me to say this conference should be this conference should be that. But I definitely think we should have seven classifications. Four is too few. The 1A is crazy because you can have a 1A school in the state championship game playing the school that's 3 times or 4 times as big. And I think they got to figure out the charter school issue because you have a small 1A school with 200 kids playing a charter school that might have 500 kids, but that charter school can draw from a 25-mile radius. And if you got a charter school in a big city like, Charlotte, basically Mountain Island Charter, or somewhere in Winston-Salem Prep, somewhere in Raleigh, they have access to so many more athletes than your average 1A school. And it's unfair. I always kind of felt like maybe they should have the charter schools play up a class, maybe even 2 classes. I always felt, even the parochial schools like Charlotte Catholic and Cardinal Gibbons, and they are now playing essentially up. But I think that might be a solution. I know a lot of people say they should have their own separate charter school playoff. Yeah. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. If you want to have a class that's just charter and parochial schools, I don't really have a problem with it. I don't know that that'd be my first choice, but I'm not going to, march and picket against it. The second part of your question about, I'm sorry, you tell me again what the second part was.
No, you good. And then the second, I just wanted to get your opinion on the high school shot clock
Oh,
debate.
shot
And
clock.
yeah, is that needed in North
We need a
Carolina?
shot clock yesterday. I watched the tournament today. Central Cabarrus was playing in the tournament in Atlanta called the Throne, and they invited 16 teams, high school teams, some of the best in the country. They had a shot clock. It's great to see games with shot clocks. I love, to see high school teams play with shot clocks. A lot of South Carolina has shot clocks in Christmas tournaments, for example. I love to see shot clocks. It makes you coach. It keeps the game moving. I know, the people say only 3 or 4% of the kids are going to college to play sports, but it does prepare kids to go to college to play under the shot clock. It's the way every other basketball everywhere else is played with the shot clock. It's kind of the same argument when we went from slow pitch softball to fast pitch softball. A lot of people didn't want to make the move. And I said, well, wait, they play fast pitch in college, so that's what we should do. College, they play, with the shot clock. Internationally, they play with the shot clock. Pros, they play with the shot clock. I just think we should play the shot clock. Is there a cost? Yes, there's going to be a cost. But was there a cost to add, the 30-second clock to high school football? Yeah, there was a cost. And they all said, oh, we can't pay for somebody to run the clock in football. They found a way to do it. I think they can find a way to do this as well. And there's companies willing to donate shot clocks to North Carolina high schools out there. So I think we'll have it pretty soon. I think, the press is going to mount as all the states around us get shot clocks. But yeah, it makes the game better. And I think it's long overdue.